This podcast is a production of Unfiltered Studios. If you would like to know more about joining Unfiltered Studios, please visit our website at unfpod.com for more information.
We mixed, we loaded, we edited.
Sometimes we get so deep into conversation that we have separate segments worthy of their own place in the sun.
Here is a reshuffled mini episode.
I mean, here's the thing that gets me when you do a movie about a television show is that you always have to have people putting their hands in, going, "I want to do. We'll do this. We'll change this." Or I mean, that's why, like, when I saw parts of the Munsters that
Rob Zombie thing.
Rob Zombie
saw
thing.
It, yeah.
You know, I kind of was like,
made a cameo. Yeah.
I kind of was like, okay, I kind of get it. You know, this is the backstory to what happened on the TV show.
Mm-hmm.
But you know,
it was too cheap. Yeah.
It didn't seem cheap or hacky. It just seemed fun to watch. You know.
Okay.
But you know, the thing is that you have to have a genuine love for the subject.
Yeah,
you know?
Exactly.
That's why
can't be yes man. Can't just be he did the last beloved superhero or shocker movie at the festivals. I'm like, that's good, but has he done this genre before? It's not good enough. Yeah,
we're not asking people to give us a fucking opus. I see this as my magnum opus. No, don't know. It's a fucking TV show. You'll never do. That's why you'll never see a Dallas movie. That's why you'll never see a movie. But,
Dallas was too much like a soap opera. It would be serialized.
Yeah.
Well, we saw the TNT redid it, and it was something else. I'll just say that. And
it was a piece of shit.
It was really bad, and the irony was they didn't even get the syndication numbers. So I think they really, after that production company really thought twice. They're like, we got to go back to doing original stuff. There's got to be comedy and a very clever mystery thing. It can't just be we redid something.
And the sad thing is Larry Hagman died during production, so they had to kill off JR.
That's just it too. Yeah.
Go ahead.
Everybody wanted to see JR, and JR was there, but JR looked like shit. I hate to say it, but he was dying. He had like cancer or some shit like that. And they were, oh yeah, he's back, and all of a sudden you find out later he died. What?
How convenient.
Just recently I saw a commercial for a remake of Matlock.
Yeah, Kathy Bates.
But they're taking the twist on it. They're taking a twist on it.
What's the twist?
That she's not going to be like, it's not the character like we saw on Andy Griffith's character. She just happens to have the same name, but she's a totally different kind of lawyer. She's not like that. Like how he was on the show. Like the Southern lawyer. That shit. She's working for an upscale firm, and she's a lawyer. But I think the twist is that she kind of uses her wits to get what she wants. That's the good thing. I think that's what they're trying to do with this one.
Well, and then they redid the Equalizer with Queen Latifah, and that doesn't work for me though. But
I dug the Denzel movies. Like those were kind of in Mission Impossible, whereas like or like the Fugitive movie. Take the concept, don't shoot crap over the narrative and the high points, because like kind of like with some of the other cartoon movies we were talking about, is like, okay, they're doing some other stuff, but those were just with the times, kind of, because I don't know, like you look at stuff like Masters of the Universe or even movies like the Monster Squad, which are making fun of Universal monsters. It's just like you gotta still have your own voice in between the I'm doing my own version on it, because like I haven't seen any of the new Night Court. I hear some people like it.
I did.
Did you like it, or is it?
I liked it. I liked it for a couple of reasons. Number one, Larry Arquette was back.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And his character changed from being, a sex-crazed maniac to now he was an older, wiser Dan Fielding, but he could still be a wise ass, because we find out Fielding was married and his wife passed away.
For a little while there, I thought it was going to be Marky Post's character or something, but
But you find out too that we all thought all along that whatchamacallit, that Harry's daughter was the daughter he had with Marky Pup. Was no. Well, she's her mother actually was like somebody Harry met at a card game, and they hooked up and they got married, and then they had the baby. But
so it's like the new Frasier, where it's like, okay, we're acknowledging everything. The new characters have their own wit. They're not forcing them on you, as opposed to, by the way, forget about everybody else that came before. And it's like, well, hold on, I gotta at least get some.
The great thing about Frasier is he's still in it. Okay, and they brought Roz back, and they brought they brought her, Baby Newirth's character back,
and they acknowledged why his dad's not there anymore, instead of times change. It's there's nothing worse when you just see kind of an elephant in the room. You're like, when are you going to acknowledge this?
So we find out Freddie left school to become a fireman, and we find out that Niles and Daphne's son is like his PR guy, but he's like,
see,
they play Sherlock Holmes and Watson, and it's like they're just so oblivious to what's going on. That's what made the new season, that first season of Frasier, so fun.
I do like that new season of Frasier.
And that says a lot for a character.
I kind of miss the interplay between his
Niles.
Brother.
Yeah, it's not the same, but I think it helps that it's the same crew. Like James Burrows, the sitcom master, is still using the same beats. So even if it's not funny, you're just like, see, I mean, they even brought back his wife, and that was funny. It's like the worst.
When Lilith showed up, everybody went, "Oh shit!"
Yeah, it's the worst bowling meet ever. And I think so often people just try to go with, let's have the next generation. Here's all their spoiled kids or somebody, and that says a lot for a character that, originated on another show. He was on Cheers.
The guy that I like the most in that show is Nicholas. What's his face? The guy who plays his buddy at the
British guy, Professor.
The British guy. Yeah. That's what makes it so great, because he's funny, but he's funny because he's a lush. But I remember,
and he's a professor who doesn't want to teach.
He's a professor who doesn't want to teach. But
he's the counterproductive Frasier. He's still full of himself, and they're the only one who find each other's dad jokes funny. But at the same time, like, he's the one who just creeps away and never fesses out, while Frasier will have to always face the music and just go,
And the thing I love is I remember him seeing on a show called Goodnight Sweetheart, where he played a guy who traveled between the 40s and the 80s.
I think you told me about that one.
Yeah,
it's on my to watch list. I know he had something as like some Fools and Horses. I think is like a sitcom.
Fools and Horses.
Only Fools and Horses. Yeah.
Only Fools and Horses.
Every British podcaster I've had on has joked that it's kind of a cultural thing. Like, they've introduced it to Americans who didn't find it very funny. So I wonder how many, when kind of like we do with all these pop culture shows, how many of them just don't translate well overseas, or something's missing, like a Hong Kong movie.
Now you got me thinking of John Larroquette trying to do Faulty Towers.
Yep.
You're right.
Yeah.
But this was great, though. Speaking about Rocky and Bullwinkle, because like its influences in so many sitcoms, both live action and animated. But then you look at cartoons before that, and same kind of deal, where you're just like, that cartoon really stood out because it was more than just the eye-catching animation. It was also just a very, when you have a special amount of quirks out, I think that's what unites all these different comedy groups we've been bringing up, is like, when you get those quirks down, you can't do, again, the sky is the limit. And unfortunately, when we see a continuation, sometimes the new writer, they're a fan, but they're a casual fan, or the quirks just aren't there anymore. Like, the actor can't replicate it. Maybe they forgot what made it special, or, I'm not going to blame any actor for turning down a role or taking it up again.
I was kind of looking at it this way: if you love the subject so much, and you're a proven fan of it, and you know what the hell you're doing, then you're going to have a good time doing it. But if you're someone who basically just says, "Oh yeah, I kind of remember it," I know it's the case of, I kind of remember watching it when I was a kid. Oh yeah, you got to give me some videotapes, just refresh my memory, and then I'll have some guy come in and he can do the work on it. It won't be as witty as we thought it was going to be. I mean, that's why a lot of times, like if you watched shows that were rebooted, they lost it. Like Punky Brewster was rebooted. They lost that. Fuller House. I remember that. That was funny, but the one thing that was missing was, there were some good jokes. Like, where's Michelle? Oh, she's in New York.
I
With
think
her,
we've talked about other infamous sitcoms. I think much like when people see the worst of a genre, they assume everything else is that way. And I think that's just it. We've had so many bad sitcoms and cartoons lately. I think a lot of people assume, oh, all that other stuff is the same mindless noise or forced gags. I'm like, not necessarily. There's plenty of sitcoms that were funny, but you look at them now and it's like, yeah, the production quality wasn't there, but it didn't matter. The writing was good. And then there's other ones where you're like, yeah, the actors, they just can't tell jokes to save their lives. I'm sure the material's funny on paper. It's just, if that was your best take, it just wasn't very funny.
I watched a lot of those shows from the 70s that were like on for like one season, the 13-week ones. Some of them was like, oh God, why was this put on TV? Or you think about those forgotten cartoons when we were kids. Like I watched an episode of Pandemonium, which was, done by, I think Robbie Spears did it. And I was like, this was a TV. I remember this, but I don't remember it that well. I was like, or Drac Pack or something like that. I'm like,
yeah,
who? Like yesterday, I posted with a friend of mine. I said, hey, my best friend Humphrey. I go, hey, you remember this one, Mighty Man and Yuck Yuck?
Oh yes.
Okay.
I might have seen Drac Pack on. Did it ever re-air on Disney Channel?
No, they did it on Boomerang.
Okay, because there was some other. So riddle me this: there was some other show with monsters, and it was definitely Transylvania inspired. But I can't, for the life of me, it's so long ago, I can't remember.
You're not thinking of
live action or a cartoon?
No, it looks definitely like Hanna-Barbera, but it was a little more in your face for 2D, and I can't for the life of me remember it.
Groovy Ghoulies?
No, that was the 1970s Groovy Ghoulies. That was Filmation.
Yeah.
Whatever re-aired on Disney Channel, I definitely saw it. It's not exactly like that, but it's kind of close.
Bangface?
Bangface, what a great name.
Bangface. Every time the guy sees the moon, he turns into a werewolf. And every time he sees the sun, he turns back again,
I'm starting to think I might have been too old for some of these because I'm not recalling any of those names.
Oh, that's the other thing too. Like it is really timing because there are some of those you're like, that's fine, but like I think, and I don't mean to sound like a snob or anything, but like I think I still keep up with Pixar when I can, and I'm still trying to catch up on some of the new Scooby-Doo animated movies that have come out because those are always a blast for the most part, and I'm just like, it takes all, like you say, you gotta like the character to where even if it's at their weakest moment, like you're still along for the ride. We talked about this actually recently for the last holiday season for the Psych movies. Like the actors aren't bored with the roles. They just do a movie every few years to keep it fresh.
Yeah.
And continue instead of just let it linger. And you don't have to do a whole season anymore. So therefore no one's overwhelmed or everyone's still happy to come down to Canada for 2 weeks and film the movie. And I think that's just it. Everybody loves to just cling on to a character, but not know what to do with them anymore.
I would love for Scooby-Doo Nosferatu.
Scooby-Doo Nosferatu, Scooby-Doo Psych Edition.
Like you do Scooby-Doo Nosferatu, and it's like,
who would voice Nosferatu?
They take the mask off. So let's see who really is Nosferatu. Fritz Lang, and then who's got the name? If we want to allow the kids,
who would you want to have voice him on that?
Oh, cartoon? I thought of the funniest. This is so weird. You have to have somebody with who can do a really good killer, like Klaus Kinski. like a very sort of like drink, like I don't know, But I would love to have them have Defoe do it. If Defoe could do it,
Sure.
Can I just say one thing? The thing that cracks me up now is like with SpongeBob SquarePants, they took a character as scary as Nosferatu and made him good and made him child friendly.
Yeah.
But I love that. I love
right,
that.
because not everybody can do that. Like there are so many times where I see R-rated movie references in a kids program, and I'm like, no bueno. Like that's too intense. Like, don't get me wrong. There's plenty of times. There's always going to be, say, a Rambo or Terminator caricature in a PG rated cartoon. But I mean, like, I'll see other ones like cartoons like referencing something like The Crying Game or Silence of the Lambs. I'm like,
Oh,
good
yeah,
grief,
yeah.
are you for real? Like,
I want to find these cartoons you're talking about.
Right. Well, I mean,
the ones
there's other ones. Like, for instance, like with Animaniacs, the fingerprints. That's funny because that's wordplay. That you have to dig for that, and it's all about listening. Most kids aren't going to get it, while the adults are in the room are going to go, tee.
Well, I think the best thing that Pinky and the Brain did was when, and we've talked about this before, where they did
Let's talk about it again. Yeah.
the Orson Welles thing, where Maurice LaMarche was doing the Orson Welles part when he was doing the frozen food commercial, and Rob Paulson is playing Pinky as the sound editor. The producer's like, we know a place. Wait, where did you? And instead of I'll bake you I'll give you a piece of cheese or something, instead of I'll go down on you or something. I mean, that's the great thing. That
Sorry,
reference.
kids at home, but yeah, no, I know what you mean. Yeah,
if you got that reference, if you heard those
I'm
tapes
sure.
before you got,
is there any cartoon where they've made fun of Casey Kasem's like radio goof ups?
Not that I know of. No.
I somewhere they tried to do a Casey Kasem voice.
I'm catching up on Only Murders in the Building, and they have some funny like stories that sound very similar to like just other infamous stuntmen incidents and real life shootings, if you will. I'm like, I think I know what they're doing, but they're treading lightly, but it's still funny. It's like you don't want to. The problem with any joke is you can be edgy and still without angering people. And I think the other thing is some people, with the radical crowds that have unfortunately come out of God knows where, there's so many people taking jokes out of context, and it's like, good grief, they were just doing a play on word of getting sushi at a restaurant, or it's like whatever you're thinking they're saying, that's not what they said at all. Are you getting this from TikTok? Where did you get this stupid birthday story?
I said the one thing that gets me the most now is if there's humor in cartoons, it's written for kids with short attention spans.
I think there's a bit of that, but I think the adults also need to act their age too. There's plenty of them where they just want to put a cartoon on just so they don't have to babysit their kid. I'm like, I thought the whole point of being a parent was you bond with your next of kin instead of shut up, go in the corner.
You talk about the short attention span, and I was just remembering watching that one episode of the newer Rocky and Bullwinkle, and it's very everything goes by really fast.
Yeah.
It's geared for this generation.
That's what I saw was in the NPR review where they're like, they dug the dumb puns, but they were complaining that it was going by to kind of combat the ADD crowd. So
those kids and their MTV.
Those kids and their MTVs and their diet sodas and their hula hoops.
And our parents thought that we didn't have enough attention.
Yeah.
Well, in truth, this is what it goes back to the generations. When you guys probably were looking at this in the 70s and 80s, that's just it. Everyone did the whole get away from the boob tube, time to go outside. So I think that's
now it's get away from the cell phone. Yeah.
Get away from the cell phone.
Yeah.
My family was always good at that. In the ever-changing world, we never had an incident where get off the phone now. It was never that bad. It was just like it was kind of the unwritten rule for us, if you will, much like don't make a bomb joke, post 9/11. We're at the airport. Fuck off. Don't do that. And I think, unfortunately, if you're not taught discretion or anything, just kind of like you'll blurt out anything and have to face the consequences. I think so many people will just look at the first. Not only are they just unfocused, just the first thing they see, oh, it's the best thing since sliced bread, and they can't back it up. And same thing, like it's awful. Well, why is it awful? Their reaction.
So Naked Gun movies are a good example where the TV show wasn't.
The TV show was the blueprint, and then became the movie. Yeah.
And we forgot about Jim Varney as Jed Clampett.
Yeah,
that's a good point.
Can I say I like the Beverly Hillbillies movies?
I
do too.
Never saw them, but
because
there was more than one.
There was I think they were going to do another one, and I think they kind of tanked off on it or something like that. They kind of were just like, no.
I'm glad you brought those up. I see so many people who wouldn't give it the time of day. They're like, oh, it's so dumb. I'm like, that's the point. That's the point.
It was a love letter to that show, because if you watch it, and they had the Buddy Epson cameo in it, because
and Barnaby Jones.
Barnaby Jones, yeah. So what they did was they were like, I think whoever directed it said, "All right, we got to have Buddy Epson in it, just as a great cameo." Because he's not only
he was still alive.
Yeah.
And he cameoed as another character, not Jed Clampett, but he cameoed as Barnaby Jones.
A Quinn Martin production.
And see, that's the best kind, because like I didn't. Started to connect this to Liam Neeson, nothing personal. Like I was just half and half, but overall pretty no thanks on the 18 movie, for instance. I'm like, you waste the cameos of the original guys. It really doesn't have much to do with the thing. I'm just like, why didn't you just call it, a super team or something? I think so many times people, again, just will take the name and not do anything with the actual concept.
Get Smart. I think they kind of,
that was fun. But I see a lot of people hated it. They just didn't get it. I'm like, why would you go to a movie if you didn't get it?
If you don't get the jokes from the original Get Smart, you don't get Smart. The Cones of Silence is one of the best scenes in the movie.
Yeah.
But
the gadgets, the phone, phone and all that.
Yeah. But the one I love is like the bad guys are driving. They hit a car and Bernie Capel comes out as Siegfried. And it's like, oh, I get it. This is great. They were gonna have what's her face, Barbara Feldman. She's like, no, I don't want to do it. It's if Don's not, and Don Adams had died by that point. She's like, if Don's not, but they did a little thing for Don Adams because I think they did a thing like the Army or something like that, which is I think his real name.
Well, that's a good point too.
They did try to spin off Get Smart with Andy Dick.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, Don Adams made the nude.
Crisis averted.
Don Adams made the Nude Bomb movie, and they also a TV movie of Get Smart.
I wish that was streaming somewhere. I can't find it anywhere.
The Nude Bomb?
Yeah.
Oh, no.
Was Barbara Feldman in those?
No, she didn't want to do it. They actually had, I think I remember correctly, Sylvia Christel, Pamela Hensley.
It all comes back to Emmanuel. Sorry, kids at home.
And they didn't have.
We're the podcast cinematic universe. Everything we mentioned.
They didn't have Edward Platt. Edward Platt had died by then.
Yeah.
So I think they had, what's his face? The guy from Saboteur who was in it. He played Brothers.
I think I know who you're talking about.
Norman Lloyd. Norman Lloyd was in it.
Norman Lloyd? Whoa.
Yeah.
Oh, the Hitchcock actor?
Yeah, he was in it. He played Crothers.
I probably haven't seen the Nude Bomb since 1980 or whenever it came out.
Yeah.
Don't you just love how every other movie we've seen is kind of a lost movie indirectly?
Oh God.
It's just they're disappearing. And again, I'm sick of it. If you can't find it on streaming, don't complain. Oh, I don't want to buy the physical. Okay, then don't watch the movie. That's your only option.
I can remember.
I haven't tried to look for that physically. I mean, I thought about it, but I hadn't yet.
No, you're fine. But I see so many people complain, where is it streaming? I'm like, not everything is going to be streaming, especially if it's older.
Yeah.
It's not, because companies have to pay money for it to be hosted on the site. And if no one's clicking on it, if there's only 2 out of 5 million people clicking on it, it's not good use.
That's the great thing about Tubi is they get these really weird There's really one
people
off.
are on, and it's free. It's free.
Like I watched the first couple episodes of The Mothers-in-Law with Kay Ballard and Eve Arden.
We went out of town recently for our lake house, and people put on 70s boxing and laughed at how cheesy it was.
Oh God, yeah.
It's like you need just that kind of just fun, stupid. You're like, I don't even know what's happening right now.
My wife watches Celebrity Bowling.
She's still watching it.
She's watched like for the past 2 years. She's watched the seasons over and over again. And I there was one on I love where it's Pat Harrington, Gabe Kaplan, Norm Crosby, and Shelley Berman. And you got to realize these are 4 guys who are stand-ups, and
yeah, it's
hilarious to watch, especially Norm Crosby, because Norm Crosby was known as the guy who would do the he would say, I'm happy to be here at this great. He would say instead of function, he'd say something else like this great friction, and
Well, and that's why I try to also remind people is like, if you can check out all your favorite stand-up comedians, specials, look at all your favorite other comedians, or whatever roles you've seen them in. There's a reason they were comedic legends, and it seems like unless they're on YouTube, people don't want to do the effort. I'm like, trust me, it's worth it. You can never, there's never not enough laughter. You got to go and seek out all these other comedy greats. And if you loved them because they were a voice in one of your favorite cartoons, that's all the other more reason to track down some of their rarities. I did have fun kind of looking up that Rocky and Bullwinkle were featured on a variety show originally in an animation. And it seems like that is the common thing. Like, I think that's why Ted Lasso has sweeped it up. Like Jason Sudeikis tested it out, doing some mock skits, and then people were like, that's great. Now let's make it a full-length, TV show. So I think if you take a comedic concept and you love it so much and it's funny, whether it's feature length or half an hour or just 20 minutes, go for it, man. It's like it kills because there's enough build up to the light at the end of the tunnel, which is the barrel aching laughs where you're like, oh my word.
We'll return after these messages.
Hey, it's Brent Pope, the host of Breakfast with Brent Pope. You've seen me on some of your favorite TV shows saying things like, give it up, Jimmy. You got to sink this putt to win. On Breakfast with Brent Pope, I sit down with guests from the entertainment world, and we do it all over breakfast. Or should I say Brentfast? Every week on Brentfast, you get inside Hollywood info and tips, great breakfast recs and booty debates. Most of all, you get the most delightful 30 minutes of your week. So dig in. It's Brentfast time. Listen at Brentfast.com, Apple Podcasts, or wherever fine podcasts are found.
Welcome to the Better Call Daddy Show, the #1 podcast where we admit, no matter what happens, Daddy has the advice we need to fix our problems. Introducing my dad, Mr. Wayne Friedman.
That was good. It would be nice if you could also sing a song.
What would the song be?
You love Paris in the springtime. I just made up some words to it.
I love Rena in the springtime. I love Rena in the fall.
That's right. That's good enough.
What I do is interview people of interest, share it with my dad, and get my dad's advice. My dad is my hero. Nobody's got my daddy.
Oh boy, let's go to Grandpa.
You like to be a little rebel. I tried to rein you in. I have a daughter named Rena that acts just like I did. She's got a son that is not only just like me, but it's just like her.
I'm your host, Rena Friedman Watts. Invite your friends, subscribe, and I'm excited to take this journey with you. Let's dive in.
She was teasing this guy with this sword, and she accidentally cut his dick.
Oh my God, I'm dying.
And then he started to enjoy it. I started going down the phone sex rabbit hole. You've got the wankers, and they jerk off in 5 seconds, and then they're done because A, they don't want to spend money, and B, they're quick.
My stepfather had mania. If I'm yelling at one of my kids, that fear, that rigid fear.
Mom even said to me, I hope you have a kid just like you.
There are lots of people that are being bought and sold right now for profit.
If you think you're going to kill yourself, shut up and kill yourself. If you're not going to kill yourself, then shut up, smarten up, and it's all on you. The bullshit has to end.
Wow.
When I was 11 years old, I was raped and molested over the course of a year what Jeffrey Epstein had was a sickness inside of him.
I am Evan Castrilli Carmichael. I could do anything that I believe that I can.
I'm so excited too. Let's go.
Next on Better Call Daddy with my mom and my grandpa.
Stay tuned.
Follow us on the web on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. The podcast is available on Podbean, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Anchor, Apple, and anywhere else podcasts are available. Feel free to review our show and leave comments on any of those sites. Thanks a million for listening.
It's a jacked up